Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kesgrave Panthers Podcast. Today, our guest is Sheffield racer and former World Champion and GB captain, Laura Watson. How are you feeling today, Laura?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, all good. So we'll start off with how did you get into cycle speedway yourself?
I got into cycle speedway. It was through my brother, actually. He'd been doing it a few years, and I wasn't really that interested. And just one day I went down to watch him ride, and he just looked like he was having so much fun. So I just thought, at the next training session I'll go, and I just kept on going.
How old were you when you started?
I was 15 when I started, so it's quite old for some of the girls, actually. Like, some of the girls start when they're like in the under 10s. But yeah, I was 15 when I started.
Can you remember where you started racing? Was it down at Sheffield or somewhere else?
So this confuses a lot of people, actually. So I actually live in Manchester. Well, my local team is literally down the road. It's Astley and Tildesley. And I've rode there a couple of years. And Sheffield, this was back in 2010, Sheffield was starting a girls team. And I really wanted to join a girls team because there wasn't very many girls here in the Manchester area. So I thought, you know what, I'll go and join Sheffield. And yeah, I've been there for a few years. I've moved to Leicester, did a few years with Leicester, and then I've gone back to Sheffield, and I'm really happy at Sheffield.
So you've been moving around quite a lot with the tracks as well. Do you have a favourite track?
My most favourite track has to be East Newport, actually. It's a very controversial track. I know that not a lot of people like that one, but no, I like that one. I've been there probably 3 times, and it's just different type of riding.
Yeah, would you say when you said you were the former world champion, but how did it feel when you became world champion?
Do you know what? Because it was 10 years ago. I remember feeling really happy, but it was like a WTF moment, because at the time I wasn't a favourite. So when it was, the favourite was either to be Lauren Hookway or to be Vicky Brown, and it was the last race, and all I had to do was finish. And I didn't know the scores. I hate knowing scores and knowing where I'm placing, because you just think. And there was what's his name, Graham Kemp. He was being my pits manager at the time, and he just says, you just need to finish this race and you've won. And it was just like, what? I won. I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was more of a so happy, but I can't actually believe it's me.
So where was this that you won?
I won in America, Edenton. We were trying to get the cycle speedway going out there, so we hosted a cycle speedway world championships out there, and it was really good. And it was a small field, but you can only race what's in front of you. And it was, to be honest, that week it was a really good week. Anybody who went there knows it was such a good week.
Can you remember what the track was like over there? Was it similar to any tracks in Britain or?
To be honest, it wasn't a great track. I mean, they were very inexperienced with hosting and track preparation and everything like that. And I remember riding around, and you could see the cobbles, like what it was made of, because there wasn't much shale. And I'm just trying to think what it would like, what track it resembled. To be honest, I can't remember what track it resembled, but it was a very rough track, and if you came off it, it hurt. It really did. You could just see the bumps and the cobbles underneath from what it was stood with.
So you said that East Newport was your favourite track. Are there any tracks that you dislike?
I dislike Astley and Tildesley. I'm not a big fan of Astley and Tildesley's track. It's a gator's track, that is, and I'm not much of a gator. And horse path, again, gators tracks. Any gators tracks I'm not great at, so I don't look forward to racing there at all.
You say you're not much of a gator, but what would you say like your biggest strength is?
My biggest strength, I'm quite a good defender. Usually when I'm putting team matches, I'm usually the defender. Or since this year, actually, I've become a good attacker. I like to just keep pushing people. I like keep pedaling as fast as I can and just pushing people to their limits, making them break, making them make mistakes. And then you'll find that gaps open up and you can just take them.
So do you prefer the team riding or individual riding?
I prefer team riding. It's just the sense of like, it's being in a team and it's not just you that has to get a goal. Everybody's in the goal, getting the same goal as you, trying to win. And there's just like a nice atmosphere, like friends and all the social aspects of it. I just like being in a team. I like team riding.
Yeah, like in team riding though, like if you have a few dodgy races, do you feel like you let the team down, or like in individual meetings, do you feel like, you know, you've done badly and you can fix it, or yeah?
No, because in a team you're all in it together, and another person can help you pick up the pieces. So like you do a bad gate, for instance, you've always got your teammate there to help you pick it up. Whereas in an individual, if you make the mistake, you're on your own really, and there's not a lot you can do. And if you're at the back, you're at the back. You have to fight your way. Whereas in a team race, there's two of you trying to get a 7-3, for instance. So like I said, I like having somebody there doing the team riding with me.
Did you feel slightly more pressured though when you were the captain?
Yes, definitely. Because when you're in the team, because I've been just a teammate and I've been the captain. When you're just in the team, you are obviously fighting with everybody else, riding for everybody else. But then when you're the team captain, it's just the way you have to present yourself, and there's a lot more people looking at you, and the riders in your team are looking at how you react to things. So if you're acting angrily, then that will reflect on their performance. But then if you're calm, everything that you do as a captain reflects on how the team will do. And you've got to be the one to boost the team up and make sure everybody's okay. And then you're not just thinking of yourself, you're thinking of everybody else.
Do you feel like as a captain or as just a rider, do you feel like you perform better like under pressure? Do you think?
No, I don't. I crumble. It's something I'm trying to get myself into the routine of you ride to enjoy, and I get more results. I get better results when I ride to enjoy. Whereas if there's pressure on me, I just crumble, and I just think if I do something bad in a race and it just plays in my mind all the time, and then I can't concentrate on the next race because I'm thinking of the last race. So yeah, pressure doesn't suit me whatsoever.
Do you do anything like off the track to try and keep yourself relaxed?
No, not really. I just I just try not to watch the racing. It sounds daft, but when you're racing, I try not to race. Like, try not to watch, should I say? Because if I watch everybody else, then I'm like comparing myself to how they ride. And that's not what you should be doing. You should just, when you go out to ride, you should just concentrate on your own race. And you should be able to enjoy it that way.
Yeah. You say your favourite form of racing is team riding, but like, who would you say your favourite team riding partner is, either for like Great Britain, Sheffield, possibly even like Leicester when you were there?
So my favourite, so in the, I've got a few favourite partners actually. My favourite for when I ride for Sheffield is Neve. I always have such a good laugh. Neve Morton. She's a funny rider, and she perks me up and everything. But my favourite, probably Emily Burgess is another one that's my favourite, because when you ride with her, and because she's really good, you just want to be just as good as her, so you don't feel like you let her down. So she pushes me, and that's why I like riding with her.
Who would you say is like your biggest inspiration for Speedway?
My biggest inspiration, possibly Lucy Whitehead, because she's gone through all sorts of scenarios, and she's so good, and she's one of the oldest riders going. And if she can carry on riding, and she's so good, and she knows everything and how to ride. Yeah, she's my biggest inspiration. She's there. She's been through everything, and she's such a strong character. Like, you can't intimidate her whatsoever. She's my biggest inspiration, I think, in cycle speedway.
With like her, would you say you try and like replicate what she does, or do you think you have like your own style, if you know what I mean?
I try and replicate her in the terms of team riding, because she is a really good team rider to be with, but she's just in a class of her own. But I do have my own type of style, and it's a funny style of riding I have. Yeah.
What would you say is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Best piece of advice is just to enjoy riding. Like I said before, if you enjoy your riding, you get better results out of yourself. And as long as you enjoy it and you've given all your best on the match day, you can't really ask for much more of yourself. And I forget that a lot, to be honest, and I have to keep reminding myself about that, because like I've said before, everything plays in my mind, the races do, and then you don't perform well in your next ones. So my best advice has been enjoy it, and as long as you've given your all, you can't ask for much more than from yourself.
Yeah. So like on a race day, do you have like any superstitions or things you do when you go up to the gate or before the meeting or something?
When I get up to the tapes, I spin my back wheel, then I sit on my bike, and then I'll wiggle my helmet for some reason. If I don't do them two things, I just feel all fungy galala, and I can't concentrate on gating. It's just, I feel out of place.
Do you have a favourite pre-meeting meal, or do you try and like avoid eating before you race?
I eat a banana an hour before a race. And I always, in my helmet bag, I always have like a small bag of sweets. So then through half time, a little bit of sugar rush, and then you should be okay for the next bit.
Yeah. What type of foods do you like try and avoid before a meeting, or is it just pretty much everything really?
I don't really avoid foods. No, I don't have any to avoid.
So if there was one rule that you could change or like bring into Cycle Speedway, what would it be?
I would like to change secondary licenses. We don't seem to do secondary licenses anymore. And I used to think that was a good idea because it allowed riders to do different leagues for different teams, and that way I felt like it boosted up racing. So like for now I race for Sheffield Cycle Speedway. So back in a few years ago, I used to be able to sign a secondary team and be able to ride, for instance, Bury for the Manchester League. And I just feel like it just boosted up the riders in all sorts of categories.
Yeah. So like, if Cycle Speedway just didn't exist, what sport do you reckon you would do, or do you like?
I've recently gotten in since lockdown. I've recently started doing a lot of road riding, and I've entered a couple of crit races. They're pretty tough, but I really am enjoying them. So I think if I didn't do Cycle Speedway, it'd probably be road riding I'd probably doing.
Or why do you ride for Cycle Speedway? What do you aim to get out of it?
For the social aspect, like I really have met some really good friends, like my two best friends, Vicky Brown and Rebecca Davies. Through them, I've met some really good friends, and I do have a bit of a competitive side, so that just gets used. My competitive side gets satisfied.
Yeah. At Sheffield, would you say you enjoy the track, or would there be any improvements you make to it, or?
Sheffield has two tracks. So Sheffield has the Cookson track and has a track called Graves. Cookson's perfect. I would never want to change that track whatsoever. Have any of you two ridden there?
I don't think
I
so.
remember which one it is.
I think we rode at the other one, but yeah.
Great.
Yeah, we've ridden the one with the skate park narrow.
Yeah.
So that's Cookson.
Oh.
Cookson's the one with the skate park. Graves is one in it's near a sports centre. That one I do not like. Again, it's a Gators track, I think, and it's just so narrow and so tight. Yeah, I can't do that. I can do big tracks.
So I don't know what to ask now. I don't know. You got anything?
Like, what would you say if, like, what's your most like memorable moment? I can't get my words out. Like, would it be like become world champion, or just something like smaller, or?
My most memorable moment is it was 2018. It was the Euro individuals in Poland, and I managed to get myself a run-off for first place with Macy Schmidt. And it was just the moments leading up to that race I remember the most. I just feeling so proud of myself. And it really didn't matter to me where I came in that race, to be honest, after that. I mean, I came second to Macy. It's impossible to beat Macy. But it was just the moments that I remember sitting on that track on the gate and just thinking, whatever happens in this race, you've done yourself so proud. Like, nobody ever would put me down to put me in the running for first place for that title. And I managed to race my heart out that day, and I got that, and that was probably my favourite moment.
Do you have like a favourite bike that you've ridden on? Doesn't have to be from Cycle Speedway.
I It's my road bike, actually. My road bike that I've got right now. It's a Live Envy Live. And it's my first road bike, to be honest, but I do love it so much. I'm always on it. Near enough every day I go on that bike.
Yeah. So I think we've got through quite a good bit today. So I'm just going to say thank you to you, Laura, for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
That's all right. And thank you to Charlie for joining me as always.
Thank you to Nora again.
And we'll see everybody next time. Goodbye.
Bye.